now the Democrat Party they're with Hamas. And one of our students mentioned that a Jewish student who was attacked violently and assaulted at Hunter College in New York City last year for wearing a yarmulke because the Democrat Party raises people to be that way. Remarkable stuff. But we did have a handshake. We had a handshake between President Trump and Kamala Harris yesterday at Ground Zero. That's their second meeting, their second handshake. 2 handshakes now. And that's the handshake. I played the audio yesterday where the Reverend Al Charlatan was on MSDNC, and he was doing his demented racist analysis of the debate the night before. And he seemed to think that shaking hands with Kamala Harris was a problem for President Trump for some racist reason.
She won when she walked out and made him shake hands with her.
She won.
And he had the nightmare of his life that he had to shake hands with a black woman as an equal. And he couldn't get it back together after that.
Yeah, you should shake hands with Tawana Brawley. And let's see, who else should you shake hands with? Oh, Satan? Shake hands with Satan every morning. That's the Reverend Al Charlatan. NBC News pays him $1 million a year and more to be a racist on their ridiculous, failed channel, MSDNC. And they love him. They call him the Rev. Like he was ordained a minister. I think he was 11 years old. He's not quite sure how old he was when he was ordained a minister because his brain is no good at all. It's not a good brain.
So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some RESPICT.
There he is. He's an award-winning journalist, a 7-figure journalist. He's on the side of, whose side is he on anyway? He's not on our side. I know that much.
I have to be the most inept charlatan in the country.
Every now and then he accidentally stumbles across something true and says it out loud. Not very often, not very frequently. That's for sure. Just amazing stuff. Yes, sir. Now, again, it's the day of rage on college campuses against the Jewish people because the Democrat Party says so, and that's what they do. They say they're anti-Zionist. That means they believe the state of Israel has no right to exist, and it should be wiped out from the river to the sea. They don't know that it's the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea, but they've learned to chant, and they love things that they think, things that rhyme. They like things that rhyme. Not a very bright group of people, but Students for Justice in Palestine planning a day of action today across the country vows the Intifada, the jihad against civilization, will continue. And that's your Democrat Party today. If you're Jewish and you're voting for the Democrat Party, you could do what you want, of course, but I think Mel Brooks wrote satirical songs about you, and Monty Python has talked about you in the past, too. Now, let's go back because there's another college student, returning to college today in New York City, and he's Jewish. His name is Xavier Westergaard. Xavier Westergaard is his name, and he's returning to college because, he wants to get an education and become successful. He wants to work hard and be a normal person. That's his goal. So let's go to soundbite number 12 and Xavier Westergaard, because this is a very strange time in the United States of America, very strange time indeed. And the Democrat Party, which is part of the international left now, they have done a real job on the United States of America, haven't they? And the news media and the Democrat Party, they're not on the side of civilization. They're one and the same. The news media is an engorged appendage on the body politic of the Democrat Party. And the student here, Xavier, he's at Columbia University, where there was lots of violence last year, and they took over a building. And which building did they take over? They took over that building. The Hamilton building, the Alexander Hamilton building, right. They took that over because they hate the Jews, and they're assaulting Jewish students on campus, and it was too terrifying for a lot of students to go on campus, and for adults that live in the area that might use the campus, and for professors who were they felt that their lives were in danger. They were in danger of violence. And here's Columbia University student Xavier Westergaard. He was also on the television early this morning. Here is, now he's talking about the Students for Justice in Palestine that are planning on, having their day of rage on campuses, including Columbia University, because it's all tolerated by the radical left-wing leadership at these radical left-wing universities that have indoctrinated these hate-filled lunatics. They're mental dwarves. Can you say dwarves, or do you have to say mental midgets? Can you still say mental midgets, or is that like master bedroom? Because I'm trying to keep up with all the Democrats' goose-stepping language rules, maybe a few more rules. So here is Xavier Westergaard talking about returning to college today, Columbia University.
As we both know, SJP, Students for Justice in Palestine, has decided that today is going to be a day of action, which they've also billed as a day of rage. I've dealt with these on-campus protests for the last year. They've become more and more radical, despicable, violent, and I don't want to have to fear for my safety crossing campus. I know that if I had a debate with any of these people, I would run circles around them, but my physical safety is paramount, and I'm not going to risk it.
I like his confidence, his comfort level with himself, very nice. And, he's worried about his personal safety because really the new Socialist Workers' Party is the Democrat Party in the United States of America. Just ask Xavier Westergaard.
Well, we've already seen what these protesters are capable of doing. Last spring, Jews at Columbia were spat on, yelled at, told to go back to Poland. These protesters broke into a building and vandalized it. They basically have no limits or boundaries on what they're willing to do. And when they openly praise terrorist organizations like Hamas, they speak like them, they dress like them. It's only natural to fear that eventually they'll do something as violent as Hamas did on October 7th.
That would be the predictable result, the predictable outcome, and it's what everyone should expect. And I played audio of Gideon Askowitz, who's talking about how his college, Hunter College, they've struck deals with the mobs of anti-Semites that there will be no arrests and they will face no consequences, just as they faced no consequences last year. And you've got generation or generations of younger people now that were brought up on everybody gets a trophy, you can do no wrong, whatever you do is the right thing to do, and now they've become adults and they have a mental disorder of sorts that's not welcome in any civilized culture. But who says we're a civilized culture? The left is here. The Democrat Party has taken power everywhere, and they're raising generations of goose-stepping little fascists who are genocidal racists. And, it has its roots in the Democrat Party, the party of the Confederate States of America and Jefferson Davis and all the rest. Here is Xavier Westergaard talking about, well, there are a lot of Jewish students on the campus at Columbia University. Is everybody going back? Is anybody afraid? Are you comfortable going to school at Columbia when you're Jewish?
I know dozens of students who try to avoid campus as much as possible nowadays. Not every student has the ability to go home. Right. And for some people, New York City is their home, which is terrifying because these protests are not just confined to the university campus. We see them in Times Square. We see them near Grand Central Station. And even worse, we see anti-Semitic acts happening on the streets, in the subway station. There's basically nowhere that's safe for Jews in that city right now.
Again, in the name of liberalism. This is all in the name of liberalism. And as Ronald Reagan warned us all those years ago, if fascism ever comes to America, it will come in the name of liberalism. And Ronald Reagan, Nostradamus, Gene Dixon, various people that see and saw the future. Isn't that amazing? Michael, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Aaron, calling from the great state of Missouri, where we keep Kansas City, Missouri. Aaron, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris, how you doing today?
Just great, Aaron. What do you know? What do you say?
I had a question for you. During the debate, let's just, for example, pretend a nut job tried to assassinate Kamala Harris a few months ago. Do you think those moderators might have asked maybe at least one question about it?
I'm thinking it might have been the theme of the entire evening. There'd be posters and music, and I think the fake anchors, would be wearing Kamala T-shirts with blood on the side of her head. It would be the biggest thing that ever happened. If what happened, you're 100% right, Aaron, if what happened to President Trump, which has been treated like a one-day news story, no big deal, and we still haven't gotten bupkis from the FBI, which is no longer a trustworthy organization, and the Secret Service is not doing a great job. But now, the FBI is the head of the investigation. Members of Congress are meeting with them today, the Secret Service, to ask, hey, what's going on with the investigation? And they're expecting to get nothing in the way of updates. But you're 100% right, Aaron, that if this had happened to Kamala Harris, or if it happened to Joe Biden, this would be the daily, hourly saw on all of the 24-hour cable television networks and the other fake network, like David Muir, ABC. They'd be doing updates every single day and pounding the table until the government agencies coughed up information. But, Aaron, we don't even know about the gunman's social media accounts because our entire federal government apparatus doesn't have the technical capability to crack into a 20-year-old social media.
Yeah, but they were able to find all the people that were walking around a building on January 6th. But they can't find this kid's social media.
Except for the guy with the pipe bombs. The guy with the 2 pipe bombs, they can't find out anything about him. They've got video of him standing there with a timestamp on it, talking on his cell phone in Washington, D.C., but they can't possibly find the 2 pipe bombs guy at the DNC and the RNC. Can't find him, but you're right. If you're a grandmother praying outside of the Capitol, then they're going to break your door down in Alaska at 4 o'clock in the morning and drag you out in cuffs. We're living in a kind of a parallel universe, aren't we, Aaron?
Oh, yes, totally agree. And if that would have happened to Kamala, they would have been accusing Trump of his dangerous rhetoric caused us, her almost getting assassinated. It'd have been all his fault.
You're 100% right, and it clearly is their rhetoric. And what are the ties? We just learned they arrested a guy, a Pakistani who was in Iran just before he came to the United States, and he was here to get President Trump assassinated, too. That story just went away like nothing. Bernie Sanders' campaign volunteers shot Congressman Steve Scalise on a baseball field in Alexandria. He tried to kill an entire baseball team of Republican members of Congress. That story went away in a day. It's good to be a Democrat, isn't it, Aaron?
Yes, sir. I'm still surprised they haven't indicted Trump for inciting an assassination attempt on himself.
Well, the day is young. It could still happen. That's fun. Aaron, keep laughing, buddy. Keep laughing.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you. Football season is here, you may have noticed, and Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action while you're watching football. The app is really simple to use. You pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less, like under, over, higher, lower. Pick more or less on their projections, and you could win up to 100 times your money. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Not only that, but Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy app with, listen to this, injury insurance. They have injury insurance. That's a good thing to have. If one of your players goes down in the first half, Prize Picks doesn't count it as a loss. So download the Prize Picks app today and use the code PLANT. That's me, Plante, and you're going to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Play $5. That's the code PLANT at Prize Picks to get $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states, and visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. Robert, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Mr. Chris.
Hey, Rob.
You're amazing. We thank you. You're also in the not just the communication and news business, but you're also in the connectivity business. I was telling Jasmine she did something very nice. Maybe you can reflect with her. She'll tell you.
I will. I'll ask.
Please. I was thinking, someone mentioned yesterday or the day before about redos. Let's do a do-over. I think that's what our former President Barack Obama had stated that you've mentioned so many times, that, the fundamental transformation of the United States of America.
Right.
But the redo is not what we need. We need to get rid of the redo. We need to not turn the page. We need to take the page that they're working upon right now and crumble it up and put it in the 86 bin.
I mentioned much earlier, that there is I told you about the Aurora, Colorado. We talked about the Aurora, Colorado, the Venezuelan gang taking over the apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. Why Aurora, Colorado? Why not? Venezuelan gangs, and the Democrats have waved billions of criminals in here that want to bash your head in and steal everything you have, because they're fundamentally transforming the United States of America. They're making it better, from the perspective of Satan, which is why they have after-school Satan Club. The Democrat Party is the party of Hamas. They're the party of wipe Israel off the map from the river to the sea. They're the party of after-school Satan Club. They're the party of severing your little boy's genitalia and putting it in a ball jar. It's a ball jar. And leaving it on Funkin' Wagnall's front porch. It is not the party of good neighborly. Well, it was Tim Walz. He said that socialism is one person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Now, really, one person's socialism is another person's mass grave. It's another person's death and mayhem.
For one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
That's right. Now, that I can't imagine saying anything more socialist than that, more pro-socialist than that. And make no mistake, the Democrat Party is really not democratic at all, and they're not friendly to the United States of America. And our news media people, MSNBC has a host and anchor there who also brags about being a socialist because they're making death cultism fashionable again with Hamas and being genocidally anti-Israel and being pro. So nobody's murdered more people in the history of the world than the socialists in the last 100 years. And Lawrence O'Donnell on MSDNC, he was on Morning Joke, and they were talking about who's more liberal. It's a competition to see who's more liberal, and I think Lawrence O'Donnell wanted to win this one.
Unlike you, I am not a progressive. I am not a liberal who's so afraid of the word that I had to change my name to progressive.
I'm not either.
Liberals amuse me. I am a socialist. I live to the extreme left.
Great.
The extreme left of you mere liberals, okay?
Okay, isn't that hilarious? Gosh, that's funny. When do the death camps and the rail spurs and the re-education camps come along? Where's the Gulag Archipelago? Because we know what socialism does. At least some of us know what socialism does. Honestly, I've told the story because it's a revealing and telling story about one of our friends came along on a sea cruise a couple of years ago, and his grandmother was a Polish woman, came from Poland, and she lived in eastern Poland, grew up in eastern Poland. And as a child, the Nazis came in, and they rolled tanks with the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler, invaded Poland and murdered and brutalized and rolled tanks on everybody. And then after a period of time, the Soviet Union rolled in. Joseph Stalin, so Hitler invaded, and then Joseph Stalin's Soviet army, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, they rolled their tanks in because that's what they do. And they drove out the Socialist Workers' Party, tanks of Adolf Hitler, and they took down the Nazi flag and they raised the Soviet flag. And my friend on the sea cruise, he asked his grandmother, what was the difference between living under the Nazis and living under the Soviets? And she paused and thought, and she said, the flag. That was the difference between living under the Nazis and living under the Soviets. And these guys, they think they've made it fashionable again. Kind of, Upper West Side, Manhattan, Hamptons, fashion. Of course, all of them are millionaires. And in the Soviet Union, you look at what Putin did after the collapse of the Soviet Union. He broke up all of the industries, and they gave them out to their friends like so much candy on the morning of September 11th in the Gaza, 2001. But, that the Soviets, during the Soviet days, a small number of the ruling class, they had their houses down on the Black Sea, and they flew private government planes, but, just planes just for them. They lived like wealthy people. The leading Nazis lived like wealthy people. And these people, they're in bed with the Silicon Valley people and the industrial types that back the Democrat Party, which brings us to the Benito Mussolini quote about fascism being corporatism because it's a merger of state and corporate power. And we see a merger of state and corporate power all over the place today. It's really the Democrat Party and the oligarchs of, in particular, information industry, right? And they look to censor everyone that's not them. They did that the last election cycle, the election cycle where Joe Biden won, and they had the FBI going along with Twitter back when it was owned by Jack Dorsey, and Facebook, owned by Mark Zuckerberg, who gave $400 million to the Democrats to propagandize and they censored voices of the opposition party, and they're trying to jail the leader of what they consider to be the opposition party. That's the Republican Party, which is what we see in Venezuela and in third world beep holes all over the world, because the Democrats aren't liberals anymore. They're the left, and the left jails their political enemies. Sometimes they get their political enemies shot in the head and killed, don't they? Because they whip crazy people up into a frenzy. And if you look out throughout the history of the United States of America, Democrats have shot, I think, every president that's been shot at by a Democrat, starting with Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president shot and killed by a Democrat who loved slavery, like the Democrats still love slavery. That's why they love all these illegal aliens. It's cheap labor. Who do you think's washing your dishes in the back of the restaurant? Who's going to cut your lawn? It's what liberals always say when you ask them about illegal aliens. And it's because slavery's in their blood, Amazing stuff. It's your Democrat Party. They are not on our side.
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm saying
there's more jobs to be.
In LA, they always
but they Latinos are not only the only people.
I didn't mean it like that. Come on.
I didn't mean it like I said it. I didn't mean it like it is. Kelly Osbourne, on television. Oh, yeah, and that's it. They say it out loud every now and then. Oops. Let's take a phone call, Michael. Again, we're breaking in our new studio today, so we're still feeling our way around in the darkness just a little bit. But right now, let's go to Elena calling from Florida. Elena, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Elena.
Good to talk to you. Hi. I
Welcome.
thought I found something. Thank you. I thought I found something that's very apropos to these times. It's a 1943 quote from Albert Einstein. Can I read it to you, or would you want me to email it?
No, please. I hope it's not a page long. But what did Albert Einstein say?
It's very. There will come a time when the very rich so control the means of communication or media that it would be almost impossible for ordinary people to make informed decisions, and so democracy would then be broken.
Wow. He was a thinking man, wasn't he?
He sure was. And I think it's so apropos to today. Because without getting the truth, over the air or wherever you get it, you can't really make any decisions. You just have to, listen to you, to the right stations, and keep your old values, keep your good values.
Yeah, keep your Western values, keep your American values, not your communist values. Keep your freedom values, keep your, free markets and free people go hand in glove. Now, Ilana, did you grow up in Florida?
Oh, no. I'm from Germany. I'm a transplant from Germany, believe me. And I've lived through, and I'll give you a couple of words right now, which won't mean anything to anybody. Wohnungsarbeit, Krankenkasse. These are all things that social government has in store for you if this is what you want.
My father fought in World War II, fought in Europe and in the Pacific, and I thought that we had learned these lessons as a culture, Ilana, but the left, I blame the left because they're responsible. The left has erased all of the lessons that we learned as a result of the totalitarianism of the 20th century, and we learned about the National Socialism, the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler. We learned about Joseph Stalin and communism, which they call socialism, and Mao's communism in China, where they murdered more people than any group of murderers in the history of the world. In China, number 2 is the Soviet Union under Stalin and beyond. And Michael Piercy just pumped his fist like, yeah, we're number 2, the Soviet Union. And the Nazis, number 3 in the murder lottery. And the commies never give up. They just keep coming back like something out of a bad Hollywood horror movie where you think you've killed them and you throw them off the balcony and you shoot them 8 times. And then a moment later, they come bursting through your door again. And you've got people like Lawrence O'Donnell, and they're all laughing on MSNBC. I'm not a mere progressive. I am a socialist, right? And you got Bernie Sanders, who was, he calls himself a democratic socialist. Yeah, it's the old one man, one vote, one time socialism. And you know all about it, right, Ilana?
I sure do. And it's funny, it's 1943 is the year I was born. It's just, when I saw that quote, I thought, oh my God, I got to tell Chris about it.
That is great. Well, Einstein is, obviously an extraordinary character, and German, and fled the lunacy, and Jewish, and the Democrats are out today in force on college campuses across the country, attacking the very existence of the state of Israel, which is, of course, created because of, in the aftermath of World War II and the Holocaust and all that. And what do you think, Ilana, what do you think we Americans need to know? And there are 20-year-old and 25-year-old Americans that have never learned the lessons of the 20th century and so on. What do you think we've forgotten that we need to remember, Ilana? I know it's kind of a tough question.
Well, they've never lived, unless you've lived in it. It's hard to. I could never go back. I could never go back to where somebody tells me how many square foot I need to live in if I wanted to rent something.
Right.
Seriously. I don't know. I don't think they've forgotten. I don't think you can forget unless you live through it. Really.
Yeah, and if you didn't know it in the first place. Now, did you come out of East Germany?
No, I came from actually a place called Mannheim, which is near Heidelberg. Uh-huh. I think everybody knows where Heidelberg is. But I was an exchange student for a while, and I went to England and Italy and Belgium, and so so I got my education from all different, even not just Germany, but other places, and they were basically all the same. Very, very limited living areas, and and I'm just so happy to be here. I've been here 50-some years, and I'm so happy to be here. So,
well, God bless you. God bless you, and you're welcome here forever. And you're on our side. We need more people who are on our side.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm definitely, and I hate to see what's going on. I just hate it. I just hate it when they're suppressed and my thing that bothers me the most, this is a side story. I remember my mom, when we first came here, my mom would say, "Oh, if it's on television, it's got to be true."
Right.
And that stuck with me. She thought just because it's on the news or on TV that it's true, that it has to be true because the government will not let you lie.
Right.
BS, right?
That's you are correct. You've cracked the code. You've cracked the code, Elena. There's no doubt about it. Listen, thank you for very nice talking to you. Thank you for calling. You with an Albert Einstein quote. I've got an Albert Einstein quote that I posted on the wall about telling the truth, and it's another wonderful Einstein quote. Thank you, Elena. He's what we generally regard as a smart guy, not a dope. The Democrats today, probably they wouldn't be on his side. Let's just put it like that. Thanks, Elena. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier uses Oxy technology that helps to quickly destroy a whole lot of viruses and odors, mold spores, and much more floating in the air in your home, in your office. Thousands of glowing 5-star reviews online. Works like a champ. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Odors from litter boxes and cigarette smoke and left-wing agitators. No match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. The powerful thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules. The O3 molecules help to seek out and destroy odors. The molecules even go underneath and behind furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. And this is great, too. You don't have to buy filters over and over again and replace them in your Eden Pure Thunderstorm. And they're only this big. You can hold one right in your hand. You plug them into the wall. It stays right there. That's good stuff. Start enjoying clean, fresh air in your home, in your office. Get several thunderstorms because right now you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You can get 3 units for under $200. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. Now, all you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com, and use the discount code Chris3. That's me with the number 3 after. And you're going to save $200 American. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is Chris3. And there was a caller on the line that Michael and I both made mention of. He said, a socialist is just a communist that has put the gun to your head but hasn't pulled the trigger yet. Something like that. Let's go to Leo calling from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Leo, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, long time no talk. I had quite a few comments. There's this rash now of, your last caller, I have to say I applaud her, especially coming from Germany. I was stationed there a couple times, and so I've been to the camps and that. I've got, a friend of mine. Her friends up in Denver. She called me last night around midnight. She's looking at voting for Trump and not Kamala. And she says all they want to do is vote for her only based on her gender. And I said, she says, give me some talking points. I said, where shall we start?